Cornhole Champions, I'm Zachary Oren Smith. For our Cornhole matchup this week, we return to a race I've been following for years in the state. Iowa's 1st Congressional District is due for another election in 2026. Republican U.S. Representative Mariannette Miller-Meeks will once again be on the ballot this week. I speak with Democrat Christina Bohannon of Iowa City about her third bid to unseat Mariannette Miller-Meeks and why she thinks 2026 will be her year. That's coming up on Cornhole Champions. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Zachary. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for joining me. You announced your third campaign for Iowa's 1st Congressional District, setting up what will be one of the most closely watched races in the 2026 midterms for Iowa and for the country. And after coming within 799 votes of unseating Representative Mariannette Miller-Meeks in 2024, I'm kind of wondering what made you decide to run again. This is a district that's been a heartbreaker for not one, 3 times now, right? And I'm wondering
Twice. I've only run twice before, yeah.
I'm also including the Rita Hart 6-point
right.
heartbreak. When we talk about this district race has given me stomach pain for years now. So I'm curious about your decision to throw your hat back in the race to get back on the road.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, honestly, it came from people in the district. I didn't know whether I would run again, but I received cards, letters in the mail, texts, emails, phone calls from people who really wanted me to run again. And they saw how close we came in 2024. And now they're seeing, Representative Miller-Meeks vote in ways that are just terrible for this district and terrible for our state. And so people reached out to me from all over the district and asked me to run again. So I've decided to do it. We came so incredibly close in 2024. And, just 799 votes. I think it was like 0.2%. And so people know that we really outperformed, other Democrats in the country here. And 33,000 people who voted for Donald Trump voted for me in that election. And they feel like this is momentum we can build on. And so we're excited to get going here.
I've written a little bit about the enthusiasm gap that Mariannette Miller-Meeks has seen in her prior elections, and this, and for 2024, that's kind of split ticket voting pattern. You, despite Trump winning the district by I think 8 percentage points, you outperformed the kind of generic Democrat in a big way, right? And I'm curious about how you. Why that would be, right? In some ways, right? A Johnson County politician, right? I could see that. I'm curious about what it is about your message that's resonating, that resonated enough to kind of pull even Republicans on board.
I think it was just getting out to every corner of this district and talking to people about what's going on in their lives and showing them that I totally get what's going on and that I care about them and that I will fight for them. I grew up a lot of the same way that people in this district did, rural town of 700 people. I personally grew up in a mobile home with 2 parents who never graduated high school. And, both of my parents worked extremely hard. My dad worked in the hot sun all day as a construction worker. My mom worked part-time in a daycare. And, I have never seen 2 people work harder, and yet, when my dad got sick and got emphysema, they canceled his health insurance. And then, what we did have, we lost because we were literally trying to choose between his medications and paying for everything else. And when I talk about that, that resonates. That kind of story is a story that many people in this district have. And the truth is, we're about to see a lot more of those very hard choices because Representative Miller-Meeks has now voted 3 different times to protect those tariffs and keep those in place, tariffs that are going to cost Iowans $4,400 per year. She voted for this big reconciliation bill that's going to cut 100,000 Iowans off of Medicaid, rip away their health insurance. And that's what I saw happen to my dad. And I know exactly what happens to families and how devastating that is when that happens. And so I think people just know that I'm going to be there for them, that I get it, and that I'm going to fight for them. And, I think it's really interesting that, like I said, 33,000 people in this district voted for me and for Donald Trump. And I think the thing is a lot of people like President Trump because he is more independent. He bucks the Washington establishment. He doesn't let political parties sort of rule his life. And people know that about me. They know that I am going to be an independent voice, that I will fight for them no matter who they are, no matter what political party they represent. And we don't have that with Representative Miller-Meeks. I mean,
just to hit that point, I
yeah,
mean, when I met you, it was the Vicky Lansing. Vicky Lansing had been in her Iowa City seat, a Democrat for a long time. When I met you, it was via email. You had a list that you had done the legwork of getting just the longest list of endorsements I'd seen in an Iowa City state Senate race in years. All bucking the incumbent there. Tell me a little bit about that moment, right? Because again, I imagine, like, when we talk about bucking the party, I think that's a really popular thing to say right now. But that feels like a really important episode in your past. Can you tell me
yeah.
more about that story?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, when I first ran for the state house, for the state legislature, um, you know, the sort of Democratic Party establishment did not want me to run against a 20-year incumbent, their own incumbent, right? And in fact, they wouldn't even give me access to the van, to the voter database that people use to go out and knock doors and things like that. I couldn't even pay for it. They wouldn't even let me buy it, And so that just shows. Look, I just felt like at that moment we needed more from our representative than we were getting. And that's what I was hearing from people throughout the district. And so I ran, even though it was, at first it was very unpopular. But as I got into the race and people got to know me more, they saw, what I brought to this. And they saw that I really had the best interests of Iowans at heart. And that's why ultimately, we won that race by 34 points, which is pretty big gap. And so here it's the same exact thing again, right? I mean, we have a representative right now who does everything that her party tells her to do from top to bottom. And she does what the billionaire donors tell her to do. She does what the corporate PACs tell her to do. All of these people are giving, millions of dollars to her campaign, big pharma, big oil, you name it. She will vote their way every single time. She took money from a group of insulin manufacturers on the very same day that she voted against capping the price of insulin for our seniors. Now she has done exactly what what Speaker Johnson told her to do and what her billionaire donors told her to do when she voted for this bill that's going to cut 100,000 Iowans off of Medicaid. She called that bill pragmatic and compassionate, which, I'll tell you, people in this district are not feeling it. And so, I think that people know that they've got a real independent voice from me. I've stood up to my own party. I was one of the few and the first to call for President Biden to step aside, after that debate. Because, I could see the writing on the wall. That was not popular in some quarters of the Democratic Party. But we have to do what's right for people regardless of party. And, they see with Miller-Meeks that she does not have 1 ounce of independence in Washington, D.C., and they know that I will.
I was really surprised to see she had actually what I thought was a pretty strong stand against the cuts that were going to be made to the renewable energy tax credit, right? That many Iowa projects had taken advantage of. Iowa's portfolio of energy generation really is, like a world state, a leader in the country for its renewable energy piece. Yet, despite saying like we need to put the brakes on this bill, taking away these tax credits, reducing these tax credits, hurts Iowans. She did end up voting in favor of the bill when push came to shove, supporting this I forget the quote. It's compassionate and
pragmatic and compassionate.
Pragmatic and
it cuts to Medicaid. Yeah.
Recently, and just the news from this week, she joined a list of 14 U.S. Congresspeople who say the Senate cuts go too far. Even for the like 10-year cuts where like you say 100,000. I forget the national figure for this. It's the CBO estimate for how many people would be laid off over the course of 10 years. But like even this Senate bill was too much for her. What did you make of that letter? Is that something that what did you make of that letter?
Well, look, She does this all the time. She says a lot of things to give herself political cover to try to pretend like she cares about Iowans. But when push comes to shove, she will vote exactly the way that her party tells her to do and exactly the way that her big donors tell her to do. And so, that's what this is. In the House bill, apparently for her, 100,000 Iowans being cut off of Medicaid is exactly the right number. you know, and so she's complaining about the Senate bill because now she can use that as a way to kind of pretend that she cares about Medicaid, but she's calling 100,000 Iowans being kicked off Medicaid pragmatic and compassionate. And apparently, like I said, just the right amount. And the renewable tax credit's exactly the same. It costs her nothing to write a letter saying that she supports renewable tax credits, right? She can say that. Talk is cheap. But when it comes right down to it, she votes the party line every single time. And here, those renewable tax credits, it's not just good for Iowa renewable energy industry, which we should support because it's a huge part of Iowa's economy and creates really not just jobs, but good jobs right here in Iowa. But that getting rid of those renewable tax credits are actually going to increase Iowans' electric bills by something like $400 a year in the long term. So those are things that we absolutely should protect. I mean, this is uniquely Iowan, with our commitment to renewable energy and the part of our economy that depends on that. And yet she, right after saying that, she went ahead and voted for that bill, right? It's just, it's unbelievable. She doesn't ever actually vote in Iowans' interest. She just votes the way that her party tells her to do and the way that her special interest donors tell her to do.
We've already talked a little bit about how close some of these elections Miller-Meeks has been in have gotten over the past couple of years. But I think the writer Laura Bellin of Bleeding Heartland has called her the country's luckiest politician, just because she keeps winning. I mean, she does keep winning outright, which I think, is a kind of resilience, right? Lucky or not, right? I mean, she keeps winning decisively. From your vantage point,
well, decisively,
well, truly, decisively, maybe I may be emphasizing a little bit there, but all to say, right? Like, she does keep winning out in the end. I wonder, from your vantage point, right? Like, why would this year be different? What is it about your message, or what is it about the makeup of the district that is ready for something new?
Yeah, look, it takes time sometimes to get out there and have people get to know you, to build the momentum that we've built. And we've done that now over the past few years. This is a very big district. This district is bigger than the state of Massachusetts. It takes a lot of time to get out there to every corner and do that. But that's what we've been doing. And we've seen, over time that our support has been growing, leading to, the 2024 election where it was a virtual tie right at the end. And so I think that we're going to build on that momentum going forward. I'm going to continue to getting out. I mean, just this week, I'm out in just about every part of the district. I'm talking to people from, I'm going to Keokuk today. I was in Des Moines County just the other day. I've been talking to people from, Des Moines County and Muscatine County and Lee County. And I'm going to Scott County on Saturday. So, Warren County and Jasper County, we've been spending a lot of time there as well. So, it takes time to get out, to have people get to know me. But when we've done that, we have gained incredible support and we've built that momentum over time. And so we're just going to hit the ground running and continue to do that work. Look, there's nothing magic about it. It is hard work to get out and really travel this district back and forth, for hours talking to people. But it's just the greatest privilege of my life to be able to talk to people. Iowans are good, hardworking people. I love getting to know them. And when they get to know me, they know that I'm going to fight for them in DC. And so that's what really matters here. And I think that that's what's going to make the difference in this election.
Bringing us to a close here, you're right. This is a huge district, and in the having made the Indianola to Keokuk drive a couple of times in my career, I have developed a kind of ritual for each gas station, right? So for me, I'm a big fan of the White Monster, and it's the Pepino Limon. It's a Gatorade. It's a cucumber lime Gatorade that I can't get enough of. What do you have? Is there a ritual you have for the gas station?
Coke Zero and Slim Jim. That's my.
What
That's
kind
my.
of Slim Jim? You a spicy or mild? This is.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
Yeah.
to get into politics here.
Yeah, I no, I grew up on like beef jerky and Slim Jim, and I'm kind of still a fan. So and one of the the big gulp with the the Coke Zero, man, that's good stuff. Like I mean, it's just better when it comes in a cup like that. I can't explain it.
Big gulp with the good ice. Christina Bohannon.
Good ice. Yep, yep.
Christina Bohannon is a Democrat running to unseat Miller-Meeks in 2026. Christina, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Zachary. Appreciate it.
That was another episode of Cornhole Champions. If you like the show, here's some things you can do to support its growth. One, go subscribe to our show's home on youtube.com. That's at Iowa Starting Line. Like and subscribe and help us grow the platform. It really means a lot when we see growth there. It's how we get this message out to more people. Two, subscribe to my newsletter and get these episodes straight to your email every Wednesday morning. That's at cornholechampions.substack.com. 3, to catch the work we do every week, work from Avery, work from Amy, and work from me, go follow us at Iowa Starting Line's Instagram and TikTok. It's really the best way to keep up with the evolving story here in our state. And 4, sign up for Iowa Starting Line's flagship newsletter. That's at iowastartingline.com/newsletter. Cornhole Champions is a weekly podcast powered by Iowa Starting Line. This podcast is produced by me with music from Avery Mossman and show art from Desiree Tapia. Cornhole Champions is a proud member of the Iowa Writers Collaborative. We'll see you with a new episode next Wednesday. Until then, I'm Zachary Oren Smith.
I'm Amy Rivers.
And I'm Avery Stick.
Thanks for listening.
Later.
Pew, pew, pew.
Later, losers.
Ooh. See, we can make our own sounds. Meow.
I wish I knew how to do that.
I think you did it one time.
Like,
I
you know how
kinda hear
people
it.
do the...
Oh, he's got it.